What's good? It's Extreme Caution here. Today, I'm going my official NXT No Mercy predictions film. Go over every match on the card, what I think of all the feuds, what I think can lead until after every single match. If you like daily wrestling content, make sure you like, comment, subscribe because I upload daily wrestling content. So you should subscribe to my channel. I'm gonna go ahead and just straight into the predictions. The first match we're gonna discuss is the Women's Speed Championship between Soruka versus Lainey Reed. This has really had no build. This was mainly built off a tournament match. They just recently put the Speed Championship on NXT for the women. They haven't done it for the men. But I like this matchup. I like Lainey Reed. I think she's a very interesting character with her being a fresh new heel in the main and on the NXT roster. I think she could be a really top heel in NXT in the next few years. I think she's already got the mic skills. She already is really good in ring. Going against Soruka is a great opportunity. Now, I can potentially see Soruka losing this match due to the whole Zarya and Soruka storyline because they have teased it again for whatever reason. They teased it again. Hopefully, they continue to tease it, but they teased that storyline again of Soruka and Zarya not being on the same page. So they could do it here where Zarya accidentally cost her the match. But they've also been teasing Lainey Reed and Fatal Influence and on a recent episode of NXT where Jasmine Nix got attacked and Fallon Henley made a suggestion that a potential person could have protected her, and they've been teasing Lainey Reed and Fatal Influence in backstage segments. So it looks like potentially we could get a moment where JC Jane or Fallon Henley interfere in this match, help Lainey Reed, and she becomes the new member of Fatal Influence. You could go both ways with this. I'm going to go with the safe route, and that is Soruka retaining. I just have a hard time believing Soruka is going to lose, and she's not losing until someone beats her for the North American Championship. But I do think Lainey Reed should win this match. I just don't see the purpose of Soruka holding both titles. I just don't see the point. And plus, I think this could elevate someone new, someone fresh into the NXT roster, in my opinion. Like I said, I don't get the point of having Soruka have both titles, in my opinion. I think Lainey Reed could easily benefit. And plus, I think it would make a lot of sense, especially if you're going to put her in the Fatal Influence faction, because JC James was, because I remember there was a backstage segment where Jasper Nix was talking about going after the Speed Championship, but they kind of just laughed at it and being like, she's not ready. If Lainey Reed wins it and joins Fatal Influence, that only enhances that storyline even more. So I think Lainey Reed should win, but I have Soruka retaining the Women's Speed Championship. The next match we got is Jordynne Grace versus Blake Moreau in a steel cage weapons match. This match should be fun, should be enjoyable. I am somewhat excited for this match. I wasn't excited for this feud at all, but them making it a steel cage match makes it a lot more interesting because this feud needed some more intensity. It needed something to give it a bit more edge. And I like what they're doing with Blake Moreau. I like that they gave Blake Moreau I wouldn't say a new gimmick, but they just made her more ruthless, more dangerous, not her being a pussy, not her running away. She's actually confronting Jordynne Grace, which is something we need because I got tired of the constant Blake Moreau being scared, being afraid of Jordynne Grace, which was ridiculous. Like she should not be afraid. I understand being a Weasley heel to a degree, but it was getting a little bit too much where she kept running away every single week. So I'm glad that they gave her a more ruthless character change because that was definitely needed. So I like that. I like that aspect. I'm going with Jordynne Grace. I just think the story makes sense for Jordynne Grace to win, even though I don't think she really needs to win. I don't even think she needs NXT. Now, you can make the argument Blake Moreau doesn't need NXT, but I will argue that Blake Moreau is needed in NXT more than Jordynne Grace is needed due to Blake Moreau being a heel and Jordynne Grace being a babyface. Because NXT don't need any more women's babyface. They don't. They have enough of those. They need more women's heels, more credible women's heels, if I'm being honest. So I think Blake Moreau should win this match, but I think Jordynne Grace will win due to just the story of them bringing up Jordynne's insecurity, bringing up her body and all of that. So I think that storyline, they were going to have the babyface prevail, which I'm not mad at. I just hope the match is good because I didn't their last match I didn't think was all that. So I hope this match is greatly improved, especially with weapons. You should not have a bad match with weapons. So I think it will be a good match. Interested to see where this goes. What happens afterwards, I don't really know because I don't know what you do with Jordynne Grace after this feud. Same, Blake Moreau should be going after the NXT Championship title picture or the North American title picture. Either way, I'm fine. Jordynne Grace should be on the main roster, but they're probably going to keep her on NXT for a while. But I have Jordynne Grace picking up the victory. Now we got the North American Championship title match or the Canadian Championship. between Ethan Page and Tavion Heights. This story, I've been loving it. I love Ethan Page as North American champion, of him redesigning the belt, making it the Canadian championship, telling the story between USA versus Canada. I love the story they've been doing, bringing in Chelsea Green. This has been a very fun rivalry, but I think it's time. I think it's time for Ethan Page to leave NXT. And based off, typical WWE logic, wrestling logic in general, whoever stands tall typically is the one that loses on the pay-per-view. But I think it's time. I just don't see why Ethan Page will retain here, especially with the story that they've been telling. I really think Tavion needs to win this match. I don't see the purpose of Ethan Page winning unless he's going to have a feud with someone big, or if he's going to be a part of the TNA Invasion, because it looks like we're getting like a TNA Invasion for NXT and TNA. So unless he's going to be a part of that, then maybe. But I don't think he needs the NXT Championship for that. But the North American Championship for that. I think it's time for Tavion. I think it's time to build up that mid-card division, put some new faces in there, give some new opportunities. I think Ethan Page is ready for main roster. He should not be in NXT anymore. There's nothing for him to do. If he keeps the the North American Championship, the only people he can really feud with is Miles Bourne, maybe, and then maybe some TNA talent. That's really it. It's nothing else. With Tavion, there's a lot more options with him being the babyface. Yuki Hama face Miles Bourne. Make him face Charlie Dempsey. Make him face Lexis King. Like, there are options for him that makes logical sense here. I think Tavion, build up a new star. You need some more bodies in that mid-card division. As I've been saying, you need to build up new stars because you cannot just keep relying on Oba Femi and Trick Williams carrying your men's division. You need to build up some new faces. Build up some new talent for the future. Tavion has a good look. Great in ring, needs some work on mic skills. He's not bad, he's just okay. But if he could get the mic skills together, he could easily be a future NXT World Champion in the next 2 years. I don't know about next year, but in the next 2 years, absolutely. So I think Tavion Heights should pick up the victory, and I think he will pick up the victory. I have Tavion Heights becoming your new North American champion. Now we end up getting the women's NXT championship match between Lola Vice, Jacy Jayne. I've been loving Jacy Jayne as NXT champion. I was so excited when she first won. She's been doing great work. The story they've been telling her was basically Lola Vice being the underdog of her going through the struggles of her upbringing and her trying to finally make her family proud, and Jacy Jayne being the heel, of course, trying to tear all that down. Jacy Jayne needs to win. Now it's short and simple as that. I love Lola Vice. She has improved immensely. She has improved so much, but it's not her time. She's not ready. She's not ready for the NXT Women's Championship. North American Championship, yes. The NXT title, no. She still needs a few more months to a year before we get to those discussions. Jacy Jayne needs to win, but my fear is that this could go either way because Jasmine Nix got attacked on the recent episode of NXT, and Fallon Henley and Jacy Jayne basically just kicked her out the group. They just basically said she was dead weight, she's not important, and she was holding us back, and they just left her there. They didn't check up on her, nothing. They just left her there. So we could potentially see Jasmine Nix cost Jacy Jayne the match, which would be it would make sense storyline-wise, but it would be so disappointing because, like I said, I like Lola Vice. I do. I just don't think she's ready yet. And I don't think she's the right person to dethrone Jacy Jayne. Plus, we didn't even get a real build towards these two. Majority of this build was built off vignette segments of Lola Vice in her hometown in Miami. That was majority of the feud. It was barely built off of because of the NXT Homecoming. So I think when you do dethrone Jacy Jayne, it should be built up more, and it should be between Jada Parker, Lash Legend, or Blake Moreau. Those three women. Those are the three women who should be dethroning Jacy Jayne. Your three most over women in NXT. Okay? Not anybody else. Lola Vice, like I said, North American Championship picture, I'm down for. NXT Championship picture, I don't think she's ready. I think Jacy Jayne will retain, but I think we're going to get some involvement. It's going to be some shenanigans. And I think Jasmine Nix and Lainey Reed will get involved in this match. I think Jasmine Nix will get involved, but I think eventually Lainey Reed will also get involved as well. But I have Jacy Jayne retaining the NXT Women's Championship. Now we'll move on to Josh Briggs versus Javon Evans. This feud has been building up for a couple weeks now. Josh Briggs basically just feels like Javon Evans has been getting handed opportunities and that he's not going the right path to get to the top, and that he's wanting to prove to Javon Evans that his way of being this ruthless guy, not doing things the right way, him just doing whatever it takes to get to the top, where Javon Evans is on the opposite spectrum where he wants to do things the right way to get back to the NXT Championship title picture. This has been a really decent rivalry. Shocking. I'm actually shocked that I actually like this rivalry. I think Javon Evans is going to win. Plus, they really just told the story because Javon Evans literally mentioned that he lost the recent match, so he got to get his comeback this week. This week, so he got to get his comeback. He got to get another match, and I'm assuming there's probably going to be a third match as well to continue the rivalry. So I'm interested to see where this goes. Javon Evans pick up the victory, and I think the rivalry will continue. Josh Briggs probably beats him up after the match to stand tall to continue the rivalry, and then they finally have their third match. But I have Javon Evans picking up the victory. Now, what I'm getting is, I'm assuming it's the main event, Oba Femi versus Ricky Saints for the NXT Championship. This feud has been pretty solid. I'm interested to see where this goes. I think Oba will retain, but I do think you could continue this feud. Now, I will say this. I think Javon Evans is the right person, but I'm not mad if Ricky Saints is the one to dethrone Oba because they have done a decent job with making me actually be convinced that Ricky has an actual shot of winning it. I don't think he will because they already told the story with Javon Evans, but I think if Ricky was to win, I wouldn't be mad at it. But I do think Javon Evans is the best choice in the long term. I think this match will be an absolute banger. This is a match that I've been wanting to see for a while, so the fact that it's actually happening, I'm excited for. But I do think Oba will win, and I think we're going to circle back to Javon Evans eventually. Don't know when, but I think we eventually circle back to that. What you do with Ricky Saints after he's done with Oba? He get called up to the main roster because he doesn't need NXT. I like him in NXT, but he doesn't really need it. But Oba Femi retains. Overall thoughts of the show, I think it will be a great show. Very excited for the overall show. Can't wait to see what happens. You guys let me know your overall thoughts, opinions. Leave down your predictions down below in the comments. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe. But yeah, that's it.